Now, I don't know what happened that day, but I don't think it was a bullet that hit him. I don't. I think it was maybe a fragment of something but I don't know. Without a scar to be seen, yet blood all over it. Look at the photos of him right after with his fist pumping. A normal reaction, right? To almost being assassinated. There's something really hinky about the whole thing. And I don't know what it is, but I am saying this. For people who go on conspiracy theories for endless cycles, deep dives, how come this isn't getting a deep dive?
The New York Times put it. On the first night of this convention, Trump was his own biggest prop. He entered the VIP box, a large white bandage on his injured right ear, an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles.
So, Joe, the ear bandage was a spectacle. I don't know. I'm reviewing my notes right now. I think it was because he was shot in the ear and he needed a bandage. It's medical.
You hear the way Ari Melber put that? His injured right ear. Injured, to your point. A bullet went through the ear. And he's wearing a bandage because he lost part of the ear. We are 3 days since this man nearly got his head blown off, only because he turned his head a little bit more to read some notes that were given to him on a screen around immigration. Is he alive right now? And MSNBC, as sick as they are, and Ari Melber, as sick as he is, go to hell, Ari Melber, quite frankly, because to say something like that, it's a prop? Give me a break. Show any sort of human dignity in this moment, and he couldn't do that, as could many on that network, quite frankly.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about MSNBC. That basically is a glorified YouTube channel on national television because it's not actually a news channel. 85% of their coverage on that show is not news. It's actually just opinions and commentary, which consists mostly of Trump derangement, okay? And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have a Trump deranged segment to talk about here today, starring Ari Melber and Corey Lewandowski, who is an advisor for the Trump campaign. Trump just brought back on Corey Lewandowski. He was a part of the Trump 2016 campaign, so now he is back. And he's been questioned by Ari Melber on Trump's recent addition of RFK to the presidential transition team. And he's going to ask Corey Lewandowski about RFK's conspiracy theories in relation to RFK potentially having a role in the nation's health or shaping health policy in the next Trump administration. Take a look.
Position, and can you tell us what role RFK Jr. would play in health policy? We're hearing reports he could be involved in the transition team.
Well, RFK Jr. has been someone who's been very steadfast in making sure that when it comes to the decisions that affect your body, you get to choose. And what we saw was government mandates, whether you're a government employee at the local level, the state level, or the federal level, being forced to take an injection in order to save your job. And RFK was against that. By the way, I think a lot of Americans were against that.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll let you finish. As you know, Corey, I'll always give you time. You're talking about policy, and you're referring to something that is true. There was a wide national debate about government requirements. I asked you, though, about RFK's actual conspiracy theories. Are you going to tell me that you and Donald Trump think COVID itself was hatched to target people by race, or are you going to reject that part of his agenda?
Ari, I'm not here to answer questions for RFK Jr. He's a big man. He can do that on his own. He's been on television a number of times to answer his own questions. What I am here to tell you is that he has a microphone to an audience who's very concerned that the government mandated vaccines into their children and themselves in order to keep their jobs. And there's real Americans who lost their jobs and their livelihoods because of what the government did to them. And I think when it comes to RFK, specifically those moms who have young children, they're very concerned about what is being injected into their children, whether it's through the food supply or through these vaccines. And RFK has an opportunity to go out and talk about the fact that he was right. The government should not have had to mandate those. We don't know the full impact of what was mandated by the government on the long-term repercussions that it could potentially cause. So we're very much in line with RFK on that position.
All right. I got your answer on that. We have the headlines about you. You're not the whole focus of this interview.
Except that is a lie, because he was the whole focus of the interview. This guy, Ari Melber, decided to pull a snake move by pretending that he wanted to talk to Corey Lewandowski about things that are relevant to today, right? What's happening in 2024, things that actually affect the lives of the American people. No. He just used that as a way to get the interview, okay? Because the whole point of this interview was for him to ambush Corey Lewandowski over some personal beef that he has with Corey Lewandowski, who he accuses of lying to him on his show a few years ago about whether or not Corey Lewandowski was told by Trump to obstruct an investigation into Trump at the time that was happening, okay? And this guy, Corey Lewandowski, basically told Ari Melber at the time that, hey, I was never told by that by Trump, right? I don't know anything about it. And that is when this interview goes off the rails, because Corey Lewandowski decides to turn the interview back around on Ari Melber and to ask him about the deranged conspiracy theories on MSNBC about Trump's ear. And at that point, Ari Melber is going to threaten to sue Corey Lewandowski for defamation live on air for turning this interview back around on him.
I don't ever remember the president ever asking me to get involved with Jeff Sessions or the Department of Justice in any way, shape, or form ever.
That wasn't true, was it, sir?
I heard that.
And that was not true, was it?
I have no obligation to be honest with the media just because they're just as dishonest as anybody else. Perhaps I was inaccurate at that time.
Can you state for the record? Let me ask you. I'll give you the question. I'll give you the question, and you can get the answer.
Back then.
We heard you on the campaign, 2024. Now I want to turn to this to deal with it. First time you've been back since then. Do you want to state for the record that what you stated on air was false because people are listening to you about the campaign, and why should they believe you if you're lying about other things?
Ari, if we're going down this road, are you going to state that Donald Trump had a bandage on his ear just for a spectacle? Are you going to state that that was false? The guy got shot in the head, and you said the only reason he had a bandage on his ear, I can read you the quote if you want, that you said it was just for a spectacle. So if you want to apologize,
two things. You're not answering the question, Corey.
Ari, you're
not answering the question.
Do you take back your statement?
I know what you're referring to, and at the end of the interview, we can touch base on that. We're going to finish this question. I will return to that. But the question on the table is, do you admit now for the record that when asked point blank about Donald Trump, I said I'll go to it at the end, and I will. I'll do that for you. But right now, the question is, you agreed to come on and be interviewed. You got time.
I absolutely did.
Now I'm asking you this. Do you admit that you were stating that falsely at the time because the investigation was about whether Donald Trump was trying to get you to get Sessions to shut down a lawful probe?
Ari, if you tell me that you admit that you were wrong, that Donald Trump wasn't having a bandage on his ear for spectacle, then I'll take you for your word. So you tell me that you were wrong.
So you're not. I told you I'll come back to that at the end because I will, but you're not going to answer the question.
So, Ari, listen, here's the deal, man. I'm with you to answer questions, but you can't ask me something when you're not willing to say that you were wrong too. Right? So admit
I told you I'll come back to that. I mean, again, the viewers are smart. Corey, the viewers are smart. They understand that having been busted under oath, you admitted that. You said, quote, I have no obligation to be honest with the media. And so this is relevant because even though I'm being fair and giving you time, if you admit under oath that you were not telling the truth, it is relevant now. And now you seem to be unable to address that. I'll play one more exchange from your House hearing. Take a look. You're a clear, straight speaker. I gave you time. I didn't lead with this. I gave you time to talk about 2024. You got that time. And this is now your chance to address this. And you're not addressing it. That's fine.
Ari, you're not
people can read that for themselves.
You're not addressing
you want me to respond to you now we're at the end of the interview? You want me to respond to that?
Okay.
I'd be happy to since we're on live air. I'm gonna respond to you on live air. I quoted a New York Times article that said, at the convention, Donald Trump was his own biggest prop. It was a New York Times quote about how he had become such an important figure in rebounding from what was a horrific assassination attempt. Fox News, which Corey, I said I'd address it. I'm going to finish. Fox News, many viewers may not know about this, but apparently you do, and some do. Fox News, which has been caught in defamation, ran a false piece, falsely stating that I said something else that I didn't say. So I stand on that. I stand on the New York Times
quote.
So you
didn't say this bandage was a prop, a spectacle from a candidate who was obsessed with spectacles.
Mr. Lewandowski, I did not say that. That is a false quote.
Right here. It's clear.
What you have is a false quote. What you have is a false quote. And I'm putting you on notice. If you continue to repeat falsely, that I said that, you will be potentially in a defamation situation because I didn't say that. But I understand that you're working off the internet, which is a lot of false information.
This is what it says
I wish you
right
luck
here.
with that. And Corey Lewandowski, we gave you time.
So you
I
would
appreciate you
apologize
coming
to the
on.
president for that.
Thank you for joining me. Corey Lewandowski, Trump
bet.
2024, and we will be right back.
So yeah, let's talk about conspiracies. Ari Melber was pushing the Blue Anon conspiracy that Trump wasn't actually shot. Okay, I mean, they're very close to saying that it was an inside job. Okay, that Trump tried to assassinate himself for political clout. This is what they want to say. This is what they believe, but they won't actually say it out loud because it doesn't really matter whether or not Trump got shot. The fact is that the man was shot at, and that's a terrible thing. But again, this guy couldn't help himself just days after the failed assassination attempt. This guy was saying something on MSNBC, pushing a conspiracy that he claims he didn't say. And if you say it, then he's going to threaten to sue you for defamation, when he definitely said what he claimed that he didn't say. Take a look.
And yet this was also showmanship by a politician known for his mastery of what they call unscripted reality TV, taking this supremely visible seat in the VIP box with his new running mate and party leaders and a longtime TV personality, Tucker Carlson, up there as well last night. Here's how the New York Times put it. On the first night of this convention, Trump was his own biggest prop. He entered the VIP box, a large white bandage on his injured right ear, the result of a close call on Saturday with a would-be assassin's bullet. A reminder of mortality, a badge of survival. It was a blank rectangle on which the crowd could read what it wished, and that made it the most potent placard in the hall. That's fair. A placard for delegates to fill in, an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles. Fox News, many viewers may not know about this, but apparently you do, and some do. Fox News, which has been caught in defamation, ran a false piece, falsely stating that I said something else that I didn't say. So I stand on that. I stand on the New York Times
So you
quote.
didn't say this bandage was a prop, a spectacle from a candidate who was obsessed with spectacles.
Mr. Lewandowski, I did not say that. That is a false quote.
Right here.
And
it's clear.
What you have is a false quote. What you have is a false quote. And if you, I'm putting you on notice, if you continue to repeat falsely that I said that, you will be potentially in a defamation situation because I didn't say that. But I understand. A placard for delegates to fill in, an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles. These aren't normal times. This is not a normal convention. Whether that makes it abnormal in a way that is either special or abnormal in a way that is bad is what voters will assess, because many are watching over the course of these nights along with you and our team here.
Wow. You know what's hilarious about this? Is that these people seem to forget that the internet exists, okay? Because I found the article that this guy was quoting, and that quote about Trump's ear bandage being a spectacle is not in the article, right? But he claims that he was quoting the New York Times article when at that point he clearly was not quoting the article anymore, and he was giving his opinion. So I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to sue somebody for defamation when you definitely said what you're claiming that you didn't say, and the quotes that you said that you were quoting are not in the article that you claimed that you were quoting. So you're lying, right? Which is hilarious because this guy is upset with Corey Lewandowski for allegedly lying on his show 4 to 5 years ago. But this guy is literally lying as he's upset with Corey Lewandowski for lying, right? This dude is lying on his own show, okay? Lied on his own show while being upset with somebody else for lying on his show 5 years ago. You can't make this stuff up, right? You can't make this stuff up. You can't. And he's upset about being called out for pushing a radical conspiracy theory about Trump's ear, okay? Something that the left, for whatever reason, is obsessed with. But he's the same guy that was just boohoo whining and crying about RFK's conspiracies. Wow, he pushes conspiracies on MSNBC. Again, this is why this story is so hilarious to me, right? These so-called journalists, again, they weaponize their title as journalists to never be questioned and to pretend as if they're the arbiters of truth. Well, everything I say is legit, okay, when it's not. And when you see these people get questioned, right, when they get confronted with their own words, like they often confront others with their own words, look how this guy breaks down, right? Look how he melts down, absolute meltdown. He has to threaten to sue Trump's campaign manager for accurately quoting him, right? Something that he said. But because he can't refute it, he has to say, no, well, I'm going to sue you if you keep saying it, right? I'm going to sue you if you keep accurately quoting me. Again, we have evidence. We have the clip. That quote is not in this article. You said that, right? That's what you said, okay? Again, it's just hilarious. It's so funny. These people hate when the questions get turned back around on them. But because we don't have journalism in the media, this type of stuff is necessary, right? You have to now question the journalists because they become propagandists. And this guy got called out on his own propaganda in a way that brings questions about his credibility as a so-called journalist. And that clearly rubbed him the wrong way, okay? He didn't like it. So he had to try to silence Corey Lewandowski with threats to sue him for exposing him, right? That is what happened, right? That is what happened in that segment, okay? This guy got exposed so bad that he had to threaten to sue, okay? Again, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. So I found that segment to be fascinating. I think that Republicans should do this more often when they go on these shows, especially when you go on MSNBC. You got to present these people with their own words. You got to discredit them because that's what they're trying to do to you, right? They're trying to discredit you, so you got to do it right back to them. Because, again, they're not journalists. They're propagandists. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.